Thanks for joining us for this look at the best original reporting from KPBS News. This week, I'm Maya Trabulsi. Coming up, how clean is San Diego's air? A change to how we measure a certain type of air pollution could bring the city out of compliance. John Lennon was much more than a musician. See some of the artwork from the Beatles star that now is on display in San Diego. And SDSU cuts the ribbon on the new river park that has transformed the old Qualcomm Stadium site. Results from Tuesday's California primary election continue to be updated at kpbs.org for future voters. It's an education in democracy at the local and national levels. MG Perez shows us how some of that is playing out in one South Bay classroom.
The hardest part is the paper, not the presentation. And the paper's worth 75% of your grade.
Vince Martinez is speaking to his students, taking an advanced placement class in research. They are a mix of juniors and seniors at Otay Ranch High School. Many of them will be old enough to vote in November's presidential election.
I think the adults in power are doing a really bad job.
17-year-old Olivia Metz is in the AP research class, working on an investigation of sexism and its impact on women's rights in the world today.
I'm worried, but I also think if we band together and we try, we can make changes that can help.
Olivia and her classmates are some of Mr. Martinez's most advanced students, but they are still part of the social media generation that is inundated with information from sources seeking to influence them.
Their primary motive may be profit. Their primary motive may be content, clicks, we like to call it clickbait, and they trust these voices and these sources to be true and factual when they're not.
I'm investigating misinformation within politics.
17-year-old Brady Peters was scrolling through his Instagram account, flooded with political campaign ads about the California primary and beyond, when he stumbled on his class research topic.
It would go from like a small idea to more extreme as you would be scrolling through everything.
Brady has just completed collecting data from 114 students at his school in 9th through 12th grade. They all completed a survey after watching groups in pairs of political ad videos.
One of the videos in each of the pair of two was false, but in the survey I did not tell the people or the participants taking the survey that one of the videos was false. And I wanted to see how truthful they would think it was.
After this series of decisive wins, Trump is optimistic.
At Wilson Middle School in City Heights, there's a different kind of investigation happening. As 6th grade students watch the daily CNN 10 program, they try to figure out politics in the adult world and the people who are the biggest players. Michael Williams is their teacher.
And most of the kids know the big names. They know who Joe Biden is. They know who Donald Trump is. They'll know who Vladimir Putin is.
11 and 12-year-olds don't always have a context for national and world events. So Mr. Williams uses a strategy called scaffolding, where he directs their learning, starting with concepts they understand, and then providing less support as they master the content. After all, they're just a couple of presidential elections away from being eligible to vote.
By the 2032 ones, they'll be old enough to vote. They'll be old enough to participate in our democracy. So we want them to be thinking about it and thinking about it as active citizens.
They are watching and listening. 12-year-old Jason Ramirez says this.
There's going to be an election about Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and there's like, I forgot who it is. There's like this girl saying like that Donald Trump is not going to make it. Like he's going to lose. Yeah, Nikki Haley. Yeah. If I would like to pick who would win, I'd say Donald Trump, because a lot of bad stuff has been happening since Joe Biden was president.
11-year-old Misael Martinez is a Democratic supporter.
If you were old enough to vote, who would you vote for?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Tell me why.
Because Donald Trump didn't really support people from Mexico.
What do you like about Joe Biden?
He really he supports people, like he's supporting Ukraine.
Students learning lessons in a way they can understand and finding truth on their academic journey to graduation. That's the goal in Mr. Martinez's class.
And this process is an analytical process built on information and supporting that information through a collaborative effort intellectually with themselves, their peers, their teacher.
Along with their grade, these students will get a vote of confidence, too. MG Perez, KPBS News.
A generation ago, Congress passed the so-called motor voter law as a way to reduce barriers to voting. Fast forward to today, and while voter registration has steadily increased, turnout remains uneven. KPBS Gloria Penner fellow Elaine Alfaro examines the impact of motor voter.
Just had to fill out the application. It asked if I wanted to register to vote or if I didn't want to register to vote, and I said, why not?
Raymond has lived in San Diego for 2.5 years now. He went to the Hillcrest DMV office in late February for reasons not related to voting, but left as a registered voter in California, thanks to state and federal motor voter laws.
If it skips a step for the average person that may not, that wouldn't normally sign themselves up to vote, then I think it's a good thing.
These laws have been on the books for a generation. The idea is to make registration more accessible, with the hope that people would then actually go out and vote. Thad Kauser is a professor of political science at UC San Diego.
The big picture here is that one of the reasons why the United States lags behind other nations typically in voter turnout is that we have this extra step of voter registration.
3 decades after the first Motor Voter Act, Get Out the Vote advocates are grateful for the law and others that have made registering to vote easier. But the hoped-for impact on voter turnout hasn't always materialized.
Speak your mind and change will follow.
The efforts in the 1990s went beyond the DMV and included the MTV generation. In 1992, Joel Shulkin was a sophomore at the University of New Hampshire. He was running a new voter registration program.
Part of it was, and traditionally, students up to that point, really, and young people in general, the under 24 population really didn't turn out to vote. And yet, so many legislative decisions are made every day that affect that population.
Shulkin was also an REM fan. On the back of the band's Out of Time album was a petition for the Motor Voter Bill and a program called Rock the Vote. The idea behind Rock the Vote was for celebrity volunteers to inspire young people. Shulkin wrote a letter to Rock the Vote. After they responded, everything changed.
I actually remember going door to door with Sarah Jessica Parker, and she was so nice. Like she said, "Oh my gosh, you're the one who wrote the letter," and was so excited. And she would stop and just talk to students and insist on talking to them for like 10-15 minutes until they finally agreed to go ahead and sign up to vote.
Shulkin says they were able to register 10,000 new voters at the University of New Hampshire alone. He says young voters were mobilized to turn out for the election, too.
While many people charge that the large number of unregistered students was due to apathy, my experience tells me something very different. Much of the problem is due to needless obstacles to registration.
Even with efforts like Rock the Vote, voter registration and turnout continued to have peaks and valleys. Registration obstacles and dismal turnout persisted, especially in California. A low point came in 2014. Mindy Romero is with the Center for Inclusive Democracy, which studies the impacts of motor voter laws.
Back in 2014, we saw a record low turnout, period, in California. The primaries, the general election was the lowest general election turnout that we've ever seen.
Voting rights advocates sued the California DMV. The suit prompted the state legislature to pass the new Motor Voter Act in 2015. This further streamlined the registration process at DMVs. Then, in 2021, a task force was established to ensure DMV offices were complying with the law. Registration is again on the rise in the wake of the updated laws, but it's still not translating into higher turnout across the board. Dora Rose is the deputy director of the California League of Women Voters. She says automatic voter registration, or AVR, needs to be backed up by additional measures.
I guess I would say that it's really important to note that AVR doesn't immediately translate into high turnout, right? For example, people who register through California's online system, where they have to actually proactively seek out registration, they turn out at much higher rates than the folks who are registering at the DMV. And that means that it's very important to take the next step, which is to do the education and outreach work that's necessary to translate new registrations into actual votes.
For Raymond at the Hillcrest DMV, participating in the upcoming local election isn't a high priority. But, he says, at least he has the option for the November presidential election.
It's kind of 50-50. I'm not really participating in anything local because I'm not up to date. But as far as presidential, I'd probably vote on that. Times are crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure the right person wins.
Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
You can get caught up on all of the primary election results at kpbs.org. Just look for the link to the Voter Hub on our homepage. It's available in English and Spanish. And be sure to bookmark it, too. We'll be updating the KPBS Voter Hub with more content as we cover the general election. A local ballot measure in 2018 paved the way for what we saw this week in Mission Valley. Melissa May shows us the official opening of the new River Park that is part of the larger SDSU West development.
Before the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Jamie LeBrake, a council member for the Sequan Band of the Kumeyaay Nation, gave an offering of tobacco that shows gratitude and is traditionally shared during accomplishments.
May we as a community walk hand in hand, side by side, with the Kumeyaay people, acknowledging the past, honoring the present, and working towards a future that respects the inherent connection between the Kumeyaay Nation and this land, the San Diego River, and the surrounding areas.
The SDSU Mission Valley development that includes Snapdragon Stadium officially opened a 34-acre river park. Measure G laid the foundation for this park back in 2018.
When we saw that asphalt start to slowly turn into what we're standing on today, I think it's safe to say the voters of San Diego made the right choice when they supported Measure G.
San Diego State President Adela de la Torre says this park is an opportunity for the community to come together.
We as San Diegans need accessible, beautiful green spaces. And this is a space right in the city that everyone can come and join with their family members and friends. They can bring their furry friends, and they can bring their children, and they can bring their grandparents.
This park includes recreational fields, more than 4 miles of walking and biking trails, and a children's play area.
I love the play structures, and I think about it all the time because when my grandkids come and visit, where they want to go is where the play structures are. So the play structures here are fabulous.
I mean, you look around, there's so many activities to do. The park is right there. There's just plenty to do.
Mission Hills resident Yo Kitazawa and his daughter Amalia have been coming to the park for the last couple of months.
Having a toddler, we like that it's clean, it's safe. There's a bathroom nearby. It's close to everything. I'm glad there's one like this around here.
Kitazawa grew up in San Diego and remembers Qualcomm Stadium and its large concrete parking lot.
Now there's this gorgeous park. I'm glad it's here. I hope they build more things like this around town. We will go.
More park space is expected to open in late April. Melissa May, KPBS News.
The 163 freeway in Balboa Park is one of the most scenic drives in the city of San Diego. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says a coalition of civic groups wants to let San Diegans experience those views outside of a car.
Parkway for a Day is a proposal to close a portion of the 163 in Balboa Park to cars and open it to pedestrians and cyclists. The one-day event would feature art installations, music, and activities in a part of the park that's normally flooded with traffic and noise. Rare Marsh is on the event's organizing committee. He hopes it will inspire people to see the freeway and Balboa Park from a new perspective.
Having big, memorable civic events bring value to the neighborhood, they bring value to the city, cultural value and economic value. You know, yes, it's a minor inconvenience, but I would say it's worth it.
Supporters of Parkway for a Day include business groups from downtown and Hillcrest, historic preservation groups, and San Diego City Councilmember Stephen Whitburn. Caltrans held a similar but smaller open streets event on the 15 freeway in southeast San Diego last year, and an event on the 110 freeway in Los Angeles last October drew an estimated 45,000 attendees.
Where it goes from here is really up to the community and our community partners, right? We want this to be collaborative. It's not just one person's idea. We want all ideas to be brought to the table. And, you know, there's so much space and so much opportunity here. I think there's room for that.
Parkway for a Day still hopes to win support from the City of San Diego and Caltrans, which would have to issue permits for the event. The group hopes to make it happen sometime in the fall. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
And Andrew has covered the story of our freeways extensively with his podcast, Freeway Exit. You can listen on all major streaming platforms and at kpbs.org. A new rapid bus line in the South Bay has survived a campaign to get rid of it. KPBS South Bay reporter Corey Suzuki says the route just went into service a few months ago in Imperial Beach.
The Rapid 227 route was meant to make it easier to commute in the South Bay, between Imperial Beach and the Otay Mesa port of entry. But just weeks after the buses started running, a group of residents in Imperial Beach started sharing frustrations. They said the new buses were making a quiet street noisy and bright at night, and that MTS didn't spend enough time reaching out to the neighborhood beforehand.
I can hear the buses. I can see the buses. There are many, much too many.
The debate came to a head at a big city council meeting last month. Here's resident Denise Guntram.
We have 2 routes already that I think service Imperial Beach, our small 4 square mile city, and I think that is perfectly fine.
The campaign to get rid of the Rapid 227 route was met by dozens of people who spoke passionately about the need for stronger public transit. Resident Denise Ramos said many residents have to cross the border for work, but don't have access to a car.
Porque mucha gente no tiene carro, no tiene los medios para poderse transportar, y esto es bastante económico y pues muy rápido.
The City Council recommended that MTS look at moving part of the 227 route to a less residential street. But they said the bus line would stay. They would not recommend getting rid of it completely. Corey Suzuki, KPBS News.
And here are some of the popular stories this week at kpbs.org. A new homeless shelter opens in North County with the capacity to serve dozens of people. San Diego Parks and Rec says no poison was found at Fiesta Island Park after a social media uproar. And the Navy says cost-cutting and crew complacency is to blame for the USS Boxer's engine problems. A special exhibit is wrapping up its run in San Diego. It features the work of John Lennon, but instead of his music, it's all about how he expressed himself as a visual artist. John Carroll visited the gallery to see another side of the Beatles legend.
Perhaps never in the EC Gallery's 27-year history has there been an exhibit that is truer to the gallery's name. EC stands for Exclusive Collections, and at least in the modern era, it's hard to imagine a group of pieces more exclusive than these whimsical drawings by John Lennon.
It's all about the importance of community, culture, spreading love, having the, I think, almost like an idea that everybody is accepted to the table.
The table. This one shows Lennon and his wife Yoko Ono sharing a meal. Ono is still alive. She's 91 now. EC Gallery owner Ruth Ann Thorne says Ono exercises strict control over where the limited edition prints go, how they're to be displayed, and so forth.
She has an agent, like an agency, that oversees where these pieces go. They handle all of the business end of it, you know, tracking the inventory and those types of things. And I think they do, if I understand, 3 to 4 exhibits a year. So it's really exclusive, and we're just really honored to have it.
To be clear, these are not originals. Those are all in museums and private collections. These are prints, most of them serigraphs, a fancy term for silkscreen printing. Most of them are printed on rice paper, and they are all limited edition.
Yoko Ono hand signs each one of these. So this is her signature there, you can see. So that's how you know it's an authentic print authorized by her, is her signatures on it. And then this is his chop mark, which was given to him in Japan. And it signifies who he was as a person. And I believe that when the Japanese made this for him, they utilized it as loving cloud, or it had something to do with that he was enlightened like a cloud, spreading love.
Lennon's passion for art began before he came together with George, Paul, and Ringo to form the Beatles. He attended the Liverpool Art Institute from 1957 to 1960. It was there he developed his style, sketching and drawing figures that reflected his sarcastic sense of humor. There are also lyrics to a handful of songs reflecting Lennon's wordplay, his poetry.
What you would hear with your ears, his mastery as a songwriter and as a musician, is what you're going to see with your eyes. So it's the further expression of a great talent that was on this earth for too short of a time.
You're reminded of the shortness of Lennon's life when you see this lyric. He included the date he wrote it, July 20th, 1980, just over 5 months from the day an assassin's bullet would cut him down in front of his New York City apartment building.
There's these great talents, they come along and they get snuffed out too early. And what's the common thread? You know, when you think about Jimi Hendrix and you think about Kurt Cobain and you think about all of these, you know, Marilyn Monroe, all of these people, they were always spreading love in whatever they did.
From the drawings to the lyrics to the photographs, those are not for sale, you might think all things Lennon here are black and white.
But there is color to be found in this collection, and it comes through collaboration. It's in this series of pieces called the Breakfast Drawings. They were done for John and Yoko's son, Sean. John did the sketches, and Yoko filled in the color.
The price of the sketches ranges from about $1,500 to the $5,000 and $6,000 range, but you don't have to buy one. The gallery is open to the public and it's free. The exhibit will be here through Saturday. Plenty of time to come and see what happened when John Lennon put pen to paper. Another way to see into his vision that he called upon all of us to imagine.
I hope someday you'll join us. And the world will live as one.
John Carroll, KPBS News.
And that right there is an example of the arts coverage from KPBS. You can get more by signing up for the KPBS Arts newsletter. It also includes a roundup of local events happening around San Diego. You can get more information on our newsletter at kpbs.org. The federal government is tightening the standards for acceptable amounts of air pollution. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson says the change might push San Diego out of compliance with clean air laws.
Let's get this rule signed.
Clean air advocates cheered when Environmental Protection Agency Chief Michael Regan unveiled the new particulate pollution standards last month.
The science is clear. Soot pollution is one of the most dangerous forms of air pollution, linked to a range of serious and potentially dangerous illnesses, including asthma and heart attacks.
Particulate matter 2.5 pollution represents tiny airborne particles that are easily inhaled. It takes roughly 30 of the largest particles to equal the width of a human hair. Lowering the amount of airborne PM 2.5 from 12 micrograms to 9 lowers how much money the nation spends on health care.
An impressive estimated $46 billion, that's billion with a B, in avoided health care and hospitalization costs by the year 2032.
Soot comes from burning wood, dust, vehicle exhaust, factories, and basically anything that consumes fossil fuel. In San Diego, air quality regulators say the biggest source isn't factories or cars, it's homes. That's why the state's clean air officials have looked for ways to phase out gas-burning appliances.
Because of the significant contribution they make to outdoor air pollution, in this case, particle pollution.
Local regulators have time to consider how to move forward, and there is a chance that San Diego's pollution levels will meet federal standards when they take effect in 2026, but there is also a chance the county won't. That means reviewing existing pollution rules.
They'll have to evaluate if those are going to do enough, or if they have to tweak some existing rules or move ahead with new rules altogether.
San Diego Air Pollution Control District officials concede that the region will likely be out of compliance when the new standard takes effect. Officials are already considering what can be done to reduce airborne soot, and they're developing an outline.
That plan is going to look at The sources that we regulate in San Diego County, predominantly stationary sources, and identify where we can achieve additional emission reductions from those sources in order to meet that standard.
She's talking about sources like factories and power plants. Regulators also want to reevaluate whether homes are still one of the biggest sources of PM 2.5 pollution, or whether that impact has been overestimated. But San Diego County has other issues that local air quality regulators can't fix.
The state California Air Resources Board, along with EPA, has jurisdiction over motor vehicles. EPA has sole jurisdiction over sources such as locomotives.
Also, California's Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment finds the highest concentration of soot in the county's air is near the international border. Local regulators can't do anything about dirty air that originates in Mexico, and as federal officials point out, the pollution hurts some communities more than most.
Not being in attainment is heartbreaking because we know what that means for our communities.
The health impacts are real and tracked in the state's environmental assessment tool, Cal EnviroScreen. It identifies San Diego's portside and border communities among the most polluted regions in the state. There has been progress. The port has worked to electrify operations at the 10th Avenue Marine Terminal, but air pollution still afflicts nearby neighborhoods.
There is no safe level of PM pollution, right? I mean, all that contributes to the asthma, the elevated cancer risk that we were talking about.
Only 15 counties in the U.S. currently fail to meet the existing standard. The EPA estimates 119 counties, including San Diego, could fall short of the new lower standard. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Another place to find all of our feature reporting is on the KPBS YouTube page. That's also where we live stream KPBS Evening Edition weeknights at 5. We hope that you enjoyed this look at KPBS News this week. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Thanks for joining us.